My name is Gina Paulus, and I am the owner of Homebodies and Home Fitness Training. We have a very special guest today on the show. Let's welcome her now. Hi, Teri.
Hi, Gina.
How's
How are you
today?
I'm good. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you could make it on the show today. This is great. So I actually met Teri. She was my yoga teacher probably, over 10 years ago now, right?
Yeah, we were in North Andover then, but now we're here in Haverhill.
Right, so she had a great studio in North Andover that has now moved to downtown Haverhill, and it's now not only a yoga studio, but it's an entire wellness center.
It is.
Wellness center is right up my alley, being a fitness trainer, so the two of us really have a lot in common.
Yeah.
So go ahead and tell us a bit more about your wellness center, Teri.
Well, it's always been my dream to have a wellness center. So I've been teaching yoga for 17 years, and I opened my studio in 2008, but we only offered yoga. And then, you never know what's going to happen in life. A pandemic happened, and we shut down our studio. And luckily, I was able to reopen in downtown Haverhill. We've expanded, so now we have float therapy, massage therapy, red light therapy, a sauna, yoga classes, workshops, all kinds of stuff, retreats. So, yeah, we've been able to expand over this whole sort of adventure of COVID.
You know what? You turned lemons into lemonade with that, so I applaud you. Very nice. And it's great having as much wellness service as we can right in Haverhill. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah.
So we are going to turn the tables a bit today, and Teri's normally my teacher, but today I'm going to be her teacher. So Teri, have you had experience working out with a ball and weights before?
I did for a little while, and I, like a lot of people, just have a busy life. I own a business. I teach yoga. I practice yoga. But I think through adding weights, especially as I age, I'm now getting closer to 60 than I am to 50. And so I think it's important to add weights in for bone density. There's a lot of good health reasons.
Sure.
Hard to create a consistency, but this is something I can do at home in just a little bit of time with weights and a ball. I haven't done it in a little bit, but it really was handy when I did it because I could really just go for 10 minutes and do a couple things and feel like I've really accomplished something.
Yeah, for sure. And that's another example of during COVID, we actually live really close to each other, but we did our first exercise session actually over video call, of all things. So it just kind of shows you that you have to make the best of your situation and just kind of make something happen when you're interested in doing it.
I think I, like a lot of people, thought I have to join a gym, I have to go to a gym, I have to understand how to use those machines, and it can be intimidating.
Yeah.
And the fact that I could just have a ball and some weights at home, which is inexpensive, and honestly, I think you could replace the weights with canned vegetables or something even if you didn't have weights at home.
Oh, totally. So are you ready to get started?
I'm ready to get started.
Awesome. All right, so first we will use this ball to do an overhead shoulder press. Now we do have the option of doing overhead shoulder press one arm at a time, which actually works more of our core because the side of our core that's opposite of the arm we're working is going to be working that way. Do you want to try one arm at a time or two?
Let's do one arm at a time.
Give that a shot? All right.
Yeah.
Do you want the stabilizer?
I don't think I need the stabilizer for this, but I know when I first started, having the little stabilizer under the ball or putting the ball against the wall so it wasn't rolling around so much was really helpful.
Yeah, for sure. So this is the stabilizer, so you guys know what we're talking about. I don't know why I just did that. But that can help if the ball is a little bit too hard for you to control. It is called a stability ball after all, so it's not the most stable naturally. But go ahead and have a seat there for me. And we're going to give you the one weight. We will be doing both arms. So we'll start with your right arm, okay, and see how that goes. Okay, so go ahead and exhale as you push, Teri. And inhale down. Now in yoga, we generally, for the type of yoga Teri teaches, we like to breathe through our nose. For strength training, it is fine to breathe through your mouth, especially as you're exhaling, but you can do what feels best to you. Good. Let's try one more on that side. Perfect. Sweet. We can switch it up and try the other side.
Don't want to be lopsided.
No. We have to be even. Good. So you see that Teri's legs are a bit wide, which is what you want to help yourself stay nice and stable on the ball. Good. Let's try two more of those, Teri. Perfect. So it does obviously take a little bit extra time to do the one arm at a time, but can you feel that opposite side core?
Yeah, you can feel that you're holding yourself up with the opposite side more as opposed to moving both arms.
Sure. The other quick tip about the two arms, I'm going to have you spin sideways to the viewers.
To the viewers.
Yeah. So you want to have your legs facing me.
Legs facing you.
Yep.
Okay.
So we're going to do a couple reps with the two arms for her. And you want to take a look at her spine as she's doing this, okay? So we want to see her sitting up as straight as she can. Go ahead and give us 3 overhead presses with the 2. So she's actually doing a really great job controlling her core, but you'll see a lot of people lean backwards when they have to do the 2 arms. That's great, Teri, you can stop. So it is good for us to make sure that we are keeping our core nice and straight. And so if the person's leaning back or having trouble sitting up straight, the 1 arm is usually a better bet for you.
Okay.
So we're actually in a perfect position to do chest press next.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give these back to you. And you're going to go ahead onto your back. You want to be extra careful rolling down so that we do not have any accidents. Sweet. That looks great. And then you want to do the same thing. Exhale, push. Inhale back. If your neck gets tired, you can try pressing your tongue against the roof of your mouth while you're doing the movement. Sweet. But it is going to help strengthen your neck as well. You can see her head position is perfect. Looking at our knees is a great thing to do if it's hard for you to hold your head straight like she is. Let's do 2 more, Teri. Beautiful. And you can exit just as you entered of sitting up first, walking your feet back. Cool. So where did you feel that one working?
Oh, definitely in my chest and my arms, yeah.
Okay, sweet. All right, I'll take these back from you. And next we have the bird dog with the ball. So a lot of us have tried the bird dog in our hands and knees, but we're going to have Teri show it to us using the ball. Now, if we have a little bit of difficulty with shorter arms and our ball is a little bigger, this can be a bit hard to do, but I think she's going to be all right here. So she's going to lift her opposite arm and her leg, hold for 2 seconds. I do like palm facing in on this because it gives the shoulder joint a bit more space. Go ahead and switch sides.
That's really unstable.
Yeah, and again, it's called the stability ball, so we want it to be a little bit of a challenge. Otherwise, we're not getting a lot out of it. You're doing awesome. Go ahead and switch. Good. I do prefer to see more of a neutral head here, Teri. So try gazing at the floor for me. Good.
Oh, that makes it a little easier too.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
But I can feel that in my lower back.
Yes, and we don't want to lift above parallel to the ground, so you're almost overachieving here, which is not a huge surprise to me. But for this, we're really going for that neutral.
And how long should you hold it?
So I like 2 seconds because that's enough time to make sure that your muscles have stabilized in that position. Longer than 2 doesn't really get you a lot more benefit.
Okay.
So 2 is perfect.
Sort of just counting to 5 in my head.
I mean, most of us count fast, so I think that's a good strategy. Yeah. 2 real seconds takes a long time. Let's do 1 more rep, and then you can be all finished with that one. So with this,
I'm on the same arm, same leg.
Oh,
I got it.
and you actually held it. That's not easy to do. Nice job. It's hard when you're talking and doing at the same time. That's why when we do yoga, we don't usually talk if we're taking yoga, but cool. So after doing that, hopefully your back feels like it's gotten a little bit of attention.
Yeah, I can feel that nice in my lower back. And actually, that's a place I tend to hold a lot of sort of my tension and stress when I have to sit at computers and stuff.
Yes.
So to do that and work those muscles feels really good.
Yeah. When we sit, our spine is actually absorbing about 11 times the pressure when we stand. Yeah. And I don't know about you, but there's days I'm sitting a lot.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to take care of our backs.
Yeah, it would be nice if we all sat up straight like we're supposed to, but most of us don't. So doing that movement really does work the muscle in the opposite way, so it feels really good. Yeah,
no, I love that one too. Cool. So we're going to do reverse flies next.
That is.
And I will give you a quick demo of that one.
Okay. Great.
So I'm going to show without weights. That's a great way for a lot of folks to start this movement. So you're going to be on your belly, and then your feet can be a little bit wide. We're going to make fists, and we're going to go up and then down.
Okay.
And you'll notice my neck is fairly neutral with my spine. That's what we want. The tendency is usually to lift it like that.
Yeah, but still looking at the floor.
Yeah, because then you'll be using more of this, which isn't our goal for this movement.
Yeah.
All right, so, oh, and also when we stick our head back like that, our core tends to go to sleep.
Oh, that's interesting.
We don't want cores that are sleeping.
No, not when you're trying to lean on a ball.
No, so I'm going to have you start no weights, and then if you're up for the weights, we can give that a shot as well. And I do like to see a bit more of a straight arm here, Teri. So think of it like a bird flapping its wings.
Oh, this way.
Perfect, yeah. And
I had the wrong movement.
Do you keep your elbows slightly bent? Perfect, that looks great.
Should we try a couple with the weights?
Oh yeah, I think you look ready for that. Let's give that a shot. I'll deliver them to you at no extra cost.
It'd be nice if I had someone at home to deliver the
right?
weights to me.
Well, if you hire me to work with you all the time, you'll get
There you go, you get the weight delivery system.
Good.
Yeah, and you can see I can feel where the bent elbow really makes a difference when I'm lifting with weights as opposed without.
Yeah, sometimes the weights give us more feedback so we can tell
Yeah.
that we're doing things properly.
I can feel which muscles are working a little more.
Cool. Let's
Yeah.
try it last
I guess
one.
that would be the way to know if you need to add weights. If you feel like it's not really, doesn't feel like I'm doing anything.
I
maybe
100% agree. We want to be utilizing our time wisely and not just
Right.
wasting our time doing something that's too easy. So, but yeah, soup cans are a great place to start. With a lot of my clients, we actually have the soup can and then we move up to the baked beans can that's a little bit bigger. And then we have the marinara jar. It's like you can kind of go up. And then once you're ready for a 5, you can go ahead and go purchase some weights.
Since I had been doing yoga at home, I didn't have weights, but I was able to get a pair. But I could see not everybody has them. So just having other options is good.
Yeah, for sure. And use weights work just as well. So, that's an option too.
Yeah.
So cool. So we're going to do the YT extension move next.
Okay.
And for that, you want to lay on your belly just like you were doing on the reverse flies.
So I found working on the ball, if I bring the ball to me and then move my body forward, that really was the key.
Especially if you're trying to stay centered over your mat. Right. That is a good tip for all the viewers at home. Go ahead and show us your Y shape with your arms. Good. And now you can show us the T and back to the Y. Good. And back to the T. It is an option to place your hands on the mat in between each letter if you need that quick touch point. Otherwise, you can be a show off like her and just...
So you could just bring your hands down?
Yeah, if you need that, just
up.
check in. But you seem to be fine without it.
This is very similar to some of the yoga moves.
Absolutely, absolutely. Teri has a very strong back and strong shoulders. She's doing awesome. Let's try one more of each. Good. And I will take this time to just tell everybody the other tip that I have is you can take a rest for a second here. If you have a hard time counting your reps and thinking about your form, it can be nice to use a timer. So there's a lot of free apps you can get on your phone that will time you for 30 seconds or 45, and then you can build in rest periods. So say it's like a 30-second work, 10-second rest, and that way you don't have to count. Because the counting can really throw people off and it can stress people out. How many was I supposed to do? And it gets like kind of overwhelming.
Yeah. And your mind wanders and then you go, what number was I on?
Yeah, and so just like it's quality over quantity. So if you can do a good job with your reps for 30 seconds, you're going to get a ton out of it. But if you find counting distracting, then you might be causing yourself more trouble than it's worth. So just a little quick tip for you.
Good one.
So we'll do hamstring curl next.
Okay.
And for that, you want to lie on your back. And then I'll get the ball set up for you. So just lying right down
I remember doing this one at home, and it took me a little bit to sort of figure out how to do both at the same time. Yeah. That's where the stabilizer is handy, though. You can put the ball on the stabilizer, set yourself up, and then grab the ball.
No, I completely agree. Having that stabilizer is a great option.
It's a great option, too, that the ball doesn't roll around your house when you're not using it.
I know. And I do have a quick at-home hack if you don't have the fancy stabilizer. An upside-down Frisbee works really well.
Oh, awesome.
The Frisbee doesn't work as well when you're sitting on the ball, but it's good to keep the ball in its place. But anyway, let's go ahead and put your heels right on the ball. So that's step 1. So if this is new to you, I suggest taking this step by step. Step 2, we're just going to do step 2 for now.
Yep.
So go ahead and lift your butt into the air for me. Check that out and feel how that feels. Go ahead and lower yourself back down. If this is a lot for you, this is a great starting place. Did that feel okay, Teri?
Yeah, that feels okay.
You're good. All right. So we're going to let her go on to step 3, which is step 2 is lift. Step 3 is to roll the ball. Step 4 technically is to go back out and then lowering down again. You want to make sure to hit all the steps. Lift up, roll back, and then lower down. Perfect. Let's try 2 more of these. This one can be a hamstring cramper, so I recommend starting slow and easy and not overdoing this one. You see how her feet are getting flat to the ball as she pulls in. That's really, really good.
The hardest thing is actually lowering down.
Well, right.
Because you don't have as much control.
Absolutely. And the ball does not help with that, of course, but this is a way of doing a leg curl that you'd normally need a big giant machine at the gym to do with your own body weight. And you're also having to work to stabilize and balance yourself, which is all great stuff. So you did wonderfully with that. That's not an easy one.
I'm losing my shoe, though.
All right, so we'll have reverse lunge next. So this is one where the ball is probably not where you want to start. I am going to place it in the stabilizer, and what we're going to do is have Teri try this one with the chair. So you are going to have your foot behind you. Okay. And I will be giving you weights, which actually help you balance, because it's going to kind of ground you. You're going to descend down and you're going to come up, only going as low as you can.
Okay.
Okay, so let's give that a try and I'll hand you the weights once again.
How far away from the chair do you recommend that I stand?
That's a really good question. We really have to gauge it by how you look when you bend your leg, and because all of us have different dimensions,
Yeah.
it's a little bit different. I suggest starting at about a foot away from the chair.
Okay.
And as you're getting into it, I'll go ahead and hand these to you. What you want to do is make sure that your knee is bending over your midfoot on the bottom.
Yeah.
That
And do
will
you
be-
think some people would need a different height chair, like if you're very short or very tall?
I mean, extreme, yes, but like anything from 5'2" to probably like 5'10"-ish. This type of chair is
Then
perfect.
pretty much any chair would work.
Sure, yeah. But good question.
Yeah.
Go ahead and try a few of these. So what you can see, her knee is over her midfoot, which is great. You might be a smidge close. So let's try moving
Just
out
slightly?
Yep. And the idea is to put more pressure into the front leg than the back for this. The back is more of just a little bit of balance, almost like a kickstand on a bicycle.
And can I let my body go forward or should I keep my body straight?
That's another really good question. Your questions are awesome today. So that is different from flexibility. So if you cannot keep a straight spine at the top, what you want to do is hinge at your hips and you
Yeah.
want to stay hinged.
Okay.
Okay, if you can be up and you don't have to arch your back to get there, then up is better.
Okay. I just don't feel like I've ever had a lot of like good ankle stability. Not stability, but flexibility.
Right.
I was a ballet dancer for years and years, so I can point my toe, but flexing my foot was not something I practiced a lot.
I'm with you, girl.
Should I switch to the other
You can
side?
go ahead and switch. Yeah, we did a lot more than I had planned, but
That's
you were doing
okay.
awesome. Yeah, the gymnastics, same thing. We point our feet, which is my background, and we don't really bend our foot the other way very often, and
Yeah.
sometimes it sticks with us.
So I found that my flexibility, so this is very helpful to get I also had a tight Achilles when I was a child
I'm going
too.
to pause you for 1 second. We want to make sure that we have our feet hip distance apart on this.
Okay.
She's more like on the railroad track. No, you want to be on the railroad track. I said that backwards. You want to be on the railroad track and not on a straight line.
Yeah,
That
so
looks-
really the front of the hip bone more than the outside.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you probably will find your balance is easier with this setup as well.
Oh yeah, that's much better.
Oh, cool. Awesome. I'm glad that we noticed that on you. Let's do one more of these. Perfect. And so, yeah, she's not going crazy deep, but that's okay. Right now, this is what she needs, is to stop there.
That's a lot of work on my calf
I bet
muscle
it
and
is.
my Achilles. I
No,
can
for
feel
sure.
it,
And
yeah.
especially, I'll take these back from you. So when we're doing single leg work, we're really asking a lot of our one leg. And a lot of times when we do all of our work two-legged, we're going to favor a leg.
Yeah.
Right? And so like by forcing ourselves to get onto the leg that maybe isn't our favorite one, we're going to get a lot of strength for that weaker side, which is really important.
Yeah, I could feel that it was much easier when I was on the right knee bending than the left because I know my right leg's my stronger
Yeah,
leg.
for sure. No, so the single leg work is really helpful in that regard.
Yeah.
So let's check your hip extension next. And for
Okay.
that, we're going to be face down on the ball. Would you like the stabilizer for that?
No, I think I'll try it without and we'll see how it goes.
All right, sweet. We haven't had you fall off the ball yet, so we're doing well.
Okay, so lying on my stomach.
Right on your stomach on the ball.
And again, this is where like bring the ball to you and then go forward seems to work best.
Absolutely, I agree. And proceeding with caution, no sudden movements, no diving onto the ball.
No.
So go ahead and lift your legs.
Both legs?
Yes, please. And arms should ideally stay on that floor for me. Good.
Yep.
And you can go ahead with up and down with these. Yeah, perfect. So she's lifting pretty high. She has great flexibility in her sacral area and her lumbar spine from all her hard work in yoga. And she also has a lot of practice with this. If you don't have that, then you want to not go lift quite as high, but just go to where your body feels like its limit is for now. So
I know that mine can go quite high, but when I started, I don't think they came this high.
I believe that. Let's do 2 more, Teri.
But let me tell you, you're looking to work your glutes.
Right?
That'll do it.
It will. 100%. Well, you actually taught me this move because I had not seen it.
Oh.
And when you sent me the list of stuff you wanted to learn, I learned something new. So that
Yeah.
was pretty cool. I like this one. I use this one often.
It's a fun one too to do. It is kind of fun.
It is. And fun stuff is what kind of keeps us interested. So including that's always worthwhile. So we'll do the glute bridge next. I'll show you how that one goes. And this one, I do recommend weight for almost everybody. But that said, if you have not tried it, then feel free to try with no weight to start. We want to have our feet a little bit wider than hips, and we're going to dip down. You know what, I'm actually not on the ball as well. And then up here. So I will be honest with you guys, I usually do this one off of a folding chair because the ball kind of contacts your body a bit more than I would want, ideally. So I'm going to have you hold this for just a sec.
Okay.
And I'll show you guys the difference. So if we have this, now it is harder on my back because it's kind of a little sharp there. But what you can do is you'll have an easier time pivoting your body. This chair is not the most comfy I've ever been on. So I think for you, we're going to stick with the ball.
Okay.
But yeah, that's just an option. If you have a couch, that's another
Oh,
great
I
way.
could see on the edge of a couch that would go
The
really
couch
well.
is pretty good, yeah. But we'll give you the weight, and you'll notice that when she sets up, she makes sure that the ball is far up more on her shoulders, which can be a little tricky to gauge with spacing, but there you go. So that's right on your waist, or hips, perfect. You want to look at your knees the whole time. And we're trying to keep a straight core here. Good. Imagine there's something connecting your ribs to your pelvis. That does not change as you move up and down. Perfect. Good. We want to make sure we're doing 1 breath per repetition here. They can be small sips of air, but you do want to be breathing. Let's do last 2, Teri. Beautiful.
I just feel like with this one, I could probably even go with a heavier weight.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
that's something I guess you gauge as you go along.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is one of the higher reps. Our glutes are a very strong muscle and they have a lot of endurance.
Yeah.
So I will assign people like 20 to 30 even.
Okay.
But if you're doing 20 to 30 and you're not feeling it, then go ahead and go up. Because our glutes are our largest muscle in our body, we can generally handle more weight than we think.
Yeah.
So, cool. All right, so we have the overhead ball squat, and that's going to be your last move.
Now, this is one that I find a lot of fun.
Cool. Let's see it.
And this is where short arms come in handy. So how wide on the feet? Is this one, again, like 11 or really hip width distance?
So good question. When you go overhead with your arms, it's creating more of a challenge for your squat. Mm-hmm. So I think that for most people, they're going to feel more comfortable with the wider feet,
A little wider stance.
like this, and even a little bit of toe out. That said, we all have different hip socket structures.
Yeah.
And so if you feel good with your feet like this, then do that. If you feel better this way.
So turning the feet out as a former ballet dancer, this feels much better.
Yeah, so let's go with that and see how
Okay.
you look. And then ideally the ball isn't resting on our head, but you know.
It's not.
There's a proportional challenge sometimes with all this.
Yeah, my hair will be all staticky when we're done,
I think it's
too, I'm
just your
sure.
hair that's touching it. Yeah, it's not actually being supported.
And I know that because my ankles don't flex a lot, I don't go very deep. How about leaning forward, or do I stay straight up and down?
Same with the lunges. Leaning forward is totally fine as long as we can keep a neutral core.
So if I lean forward, I should stay forward the whole time?
No, that would be too simple, wouldn't
Okay.
it? So for squats, if we do lean forward, you can rest your arms for just a second. For squats, if we do lean forward, we want to come up here because it's a lot of pressure on our back to stay like this.
Okay.
But for lunging, if we have to lean forward, it's preferable to stay. And that's because we're getting more glute this way, and we're also letting both of our legs kind of keep us balanced.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas on the squat, if you're like this, you're really not getting that support.
Okay.
So let's just finish up with a few more of these. And I noticed I forgot one. So we actually do have one more.
Okay. So if I go forward, come all the way back up.
Exactly.
So I know by leaning forward, I can get a little bit deeper squat.
Yeah.
Because I'm using more thigh and less ankle.
Exactly. No, so do that. Definitely lean forward.
That feels a lot more difficult, maybe isn't the right word. That's a little more challenging, and I can feel that much more in my core
For sure.
than I was before leaning forward. So.
No, true. And when she's leaning forward, what we're asking her back to do and her hamstrings is hold her body up. So if we're doing it more like a ballerina of like this, we're really not getting a lot of core, actually.
Yeah.
And there's another interesting thing about our pelvis. When the top of our pelvis is stuck in something that we call ER, or external rotation, which is actually a position that a lot of women's hips become stuck in after childbirth. Mm-hmm. You've had a couple kids.
Yes,
so
two.
Our body remembers this, even if it's been a little bit.
Yeah.
And a lot of athletes also have this where their hips are kind of stuck, what we call the inlet is stuck in external rotation. When we have that, we cannot squat, and I have the same issue. So I can't really do a squat and stay up. I just kind of get stuck. Right. But if I let myself bend forward, I can do it. And of course, the ankles come into play as well. Yeah. So if you think to yourself, I should be able to do that, your bones might be telling you otherwise. Right. So you don't want to force through that, especially if you don't have a professional helping you.
Everybody's hips are different. So you have to work with the ones
you got to work with the ones you have. Yeah. So last one will be that side leg raise.
Oh.
And do you want the stabilizer for that one?
I think let's try the stabilizer for that
Okay.
one, and then we can get rid of it if we
Okay.
decide I don't need it.
Sure, we'll give it a shot with it first.
This is the most challenging one for me.
Okay, well, I'm glad I saved the hard one for last,
Yeah.
so we didn't tire you out too much.
So I'm trying to remember how I learned to get into it. The hardest thing for me was getting actually on the ball in the side position. So I found if I knelt down, same thing, bring the ball to me,
Yep.
and then sort of adjust my body on it.
Yes.
That worked much better.
Okay.
Yep. And then,
And so, yes, the problem here is the ball is a little big for this for you.
yeah.
But
I think if I don't have the stabilizer, I might be able to get my
I agree with you.
hand on the floor.
And you know what? If you can't get your hand on the floor, no worries. You can still do it. It's going to be a little bit harder to stay balanced.
Yep.
So that
And-
does look better, Teri. So let's go ahead and lift, if we can, the right leg up and down.
Okay. I think when I did this at home, I had my hand on a chair.
Oh, there you go. That's
Can
a
I
great
can I try the chair?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Let's see
I
how-
think that was one of the things that helped. Yeah, that I had my hand in front of me, and then this stabilized me enough
that's a great idea.
so that I could get my leg up. I was trying to remember. I was thinking I had some cheat for this one,
Right? No,
right?
this is
And
good.
I'm not leaning on the chair much.
No.
But instead of my hand on the ball, which isn't stable,
Sure.
the chair is stable, and then I feel like I could get more work.
Let's flip you over and try the other side. And obviously, if your hand could be flat on the floor, that would probably be easier,
Yeah.
but we got to do what we can with this ball
And this
here.
ball is a bit large. They come in different, because I teach yoga. We don't use yoga balls in my class, but it's something I'm familiar with.
Sure.
This ball is actually for somebody that's slightly bigger than I am.
Right.
This ball is like 5. If you look on the yoga balls, the size will have a height usually.
Yeah.
And this one is 5'5" and up, and I'm only 5'3". So
Right. So,
and my arm is short.
yeah. Yeah. So don't just buy whatever you see online. Like, make sure you check that, because if it's close, you'll be okay, but you don't want to order.
Right.
One time I ordered a ball without looking, and it was made for a person that was over 7 feet tall.
Oh, that's not.
And
gonna
I
be
really
helpful.
couldn't use it. So,
Yeah, they usually are. They're like 5 up to 5'6", and then 5'5" to 6 feet.
right.
Yeah.
Good. Let's try 2 more of these. Getting some good range on that inner thigh there.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Great. Well, that was your last movement.
Then that was the hardest one. So the chair is helpful. But like
The chair is. Yeah, that's a great tip. I'm
Yeah.
glad that you brought that up.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, do you feel thoroughly worked out right now?
I do.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right. So a routine like this, you can go through it twice if you have the time. But I think for getting back into it like you are today, one set's perfect.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you feel good the next day and that you're not overly sore. But if you feel good, 2 sets would make sense.
Right.
So I'll make sure I hook you up with a list of this routine so you can maybe start getting back into it now that things with your new location have started to normalize somewhat.
Yeah.
So,
And also just for home more in the winter, when it's nice outside, it's nice to go for a walk or something like that.
for sure.
But when you're doing less of that in the winter, then to find something to fill in that time
Yeah.
that you're doing the same work, but you have to do it from home, Shoveling snow is good, but you need to be strong enough to shovel it. So
Exactly.
do
Yeah.
the work.
For sure. So getting ready for that snow season is always welcomed in New England.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for joining me,
you.
Teri. This was great.
It was great to be here.
All right. We'll see you all next time.
All right.